Species 7 here, and welcome back to Farming Simulator 2013. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, got to see all your family, everything went well for you. We are going to start a new map for the new season. This is Spring Acres, and as I mentioned when I closed off the old family farm, we are looking at the more realistic mod once again. I thought it added quite a flavor to this game. I really enjoyed it. Plus the fact that there has been quite a few new items released. I had a different harvester. It caused a lot of problems, so I'm going to have to look for another one, so this is an in-game one. But we got this really cool old tractor here, this Skoda. The Skoda Liaz, nice little tractor. This wasn't around the last time we did it. Really nice little international here, or case, I guess as you guys are calling them. We got our little bucker wagon. This is this one's going to be a little weird. This is our new tractor trailer setup. Brand new mod, never seen it before, but it is MR ready. It's quite a neat little rig, so we'll have to see. Unfortunately, it didn't actually list what crops it'll hold, so I'm hoping it's going to be of some use to us. As you can see, I'm not going to start us with a whole lot of gear. Front end loader, fairly typical. One seeder, one cultivator, sprayer, small mower, water tank, and that is all of our initial starting gear. There are pigs on the map, there are fattening stations on the map, there are breeding stations on the map, there are all of that, so we are going to have to turn this gear into just a little bit of a miracle. Now, I had been actually looking at one other map, a map called Belgique Profonde, which I believe is the new map of Belgium. Really good map, really interesting. As you can see, we've got the slip thing happening here. Forgot for a moment how to go to all-wheel drive. There we go. She still gives a bit of a spin on the field. Oh, I just turned it off, that's why. I forgot the patch made it so that, because this is also the new version of More Realistic. Last time we ran the very first one that Doral put out. So apparently there's been a lot of changes. Anyway, the other map I was looking at, called Belgique Profonde, the only problem with it I had was it didn't use silos. Now, I kind of like the idea. You had to bucket things into your trailers, basically. They had storage sheds. So here's our main farm. They had storage sheds, and you had to basically bucket things into the trailer. That's fine and dandy. I don't have an issue with that. Problem with it being, I haven't yet found a loader that has any sort of a capacity to the bucket for the MR mod, the more realistic mod. Lots of big loaders out there, lots of, I've seen loaders that are 100,000 per lift, stuff like that. I mean, absolutely obscene for the size of the buckets. But, problem is that, well, none of them are more realistic enabled. So I don't think we want to go through a process of, I have one modded bucket and it holds 600 liters. That's the biggest loader bucket I have that's capable of picking up all the fruits and all the grains, right? Because you did have to do all of them. There wasn't yeah, it wasn't like the sugar beets and potatoes had their own silos. You had to bucket those as well. So had to have something that would pretty much handle everything. And like I say, the only one I've got only does 600 liters. Now, I don't relish the fact of, trying to fill trailers that might be varying anywhere from 22,000 to, 40,000 plus liters 600 liters at a time. Yeah, no. There we go. And you should do well there. So no, not something I wanted to do. I am going to keep my eye out, and perhaps if before we get too far in, the only thing I'm not really keen with this one is it is all in all a little on the flat side. I was hoping to get something with a little more test to it, you know, for the MR mod, but what else? I had actually found a couple of maps that were MR enabled, right? Just like the original Hagenstadt one that Darrell did. Problem with them being, they were on those particular types of sites that seem keener on having tons of pop-ups and redirects to other sites, etc., than they actually are on maybe giving you, oh, I don't know, the mod you're trying to get. Yeah. So, and I always got to kind of wonder, when you don't see those on any of the sites that don't come up with all of these little pop-ups, you know, could it maybe be because they know these guys check the mods a little more thoroughly and there's a reason you don't want them on a respectable site? Hard to say. But that was definitely the issue, was the fact that the only place I could find them was kind of shoddy sites, and I don't like doing that. You know, especially if you put a little bit of time. Because, I mean, even selling off the old gear, you know, I've placed the breeding stations and stuff all over this map. I've done all of that. You know, the one thing that still got me on this more realistic mod, most of the modded outside of the standard game vehicles that have been modded don't seem to have quite as much runaway, you know. Now I know that Darrell said that one of the things he patched was the steering. Well, I think he kind of made it even sharper. And that was something that I was kind of concerned with, was the fact that it seemed if you steered past a certain point, you couldn't stop yourself. Oh well. So, but this is, as I say, this is the Spring Acres map. And no, I didn't place these niche stations. There's, I believe, 4 of them on the map, scattered around at various locations. Like I say, it is actually a pretty darn big map. Oh, I was... stop! Oh, this is going to take some getting used to, guys. Wow. You know, without the MR mod, you take your finger off the W key, and eventually the tractor kind of rolls to a stop with the with the mod involved. It's enough to make anyone look absolutely amateur. Oh, and speaking of absolute amateurs, I don't mind at all when people leave comments that are kind of negative. I mean, in so much as if they don't think that I'm doing a good job at what I'm doing, because fair enough, and I'm probably not. But a word to you guys that want to leave kind of negative comments, if you want them to really appear as constructive, okay, to tell a person they suck at a game doesn't really help. You know, I mean, does the driving suck? Does the management of the field suck? Exactly what is it you figure they need to improve, you know, so they don't suck at the game? I didn't think I was that bad at it, actually, with over 500 hours in. The other thing is, if you want to be taken seriously, for God's sake, use your spell check. I mean, if you're going to make a wall of text, and you get a word or two wrong, understandable. You might have been, you know, typing straight from the head. You know, if you're basically going to tell somebody that they're pretty awful at something or whatever, then, you know, try and get all 5 words spelled correctly, especially when none of them are complicated. It will really kind of help out your case. So, beyond that, my apologies if you think I suck at the game. I will promise you one thing. I'm going to keep practicing. I think I'm at about 520 hours of practice now, so hey, eventually I'm going to get good at this, guys. So, anyway, as you can see, this, oh. Alright. Let's just set that back down. We'll, pretend we didn't forget that you can't stick that much weight on the back of a little tiny tractor like this one. Because let's face it, these aren't exactly beastie little tractors. I think what I might be able to pick up alright, though, is I think this will counterbalance the... Yeah, that works out alright. Yeah, this is basically just going to be an episode of dragging my gear back to the farm. But let's have a look at what we've got here. So, I like... some of the descriptives on this is kind of funny, you know. Hopefully you guys can read that. You can pause it there if you want to read it. It is actually worth the read. It's pretty neat. So here we go. Not a small map, divided by a large, I'm going to assume that's a river, with a single bridge. So, okay, here's our original starting area, 42, 41, 43. Now, we apparently own a field down here as well. So, of course, there's no vehicles there, but somewhere down here, and I can see there's a bunch of complexes. So we've got our work cut out for us. It is a pretty big place. It's going to involve driving some distances. It is well laid out. I've been all over the map having looks. It's well laid out. There's lots of sell points, and I'd say the only thing is it's maybe not quite as much, you know, terrain change as one might like. All of the collisions are on, so got to be a little more careful than at Old Family Farm where basically nothing was. So yeah, the bucket on the front of this is the only non-MR in the game. The only, and I am, like I say, I'm keeping my eyes open for better. That's a 600 liter bucket, but it will handle all of the fruits. And I don't know that I'll actually need this particular one on this map, but we'll see how it goes. So, we'll drop this off, and I think I'll put it over with the seeding stuff. Certainly get a reasonable supply of sheds to store your gear. Whoops. Of course, it did come with a reasonable, a good amount of gear when you started with the vehicles that he supplied. Again, this map is from FSUK. So, the Belgique Profonde map was actually one of the contest winners for Farming Sim. And that's another thing. My God, I was just appalled. I downloaded and looked at all of the maps that were from the 2013 mod contest. And, wow. They should have put them all through FSUK for testing, let me tell you. Some of them were rather interesting. They were pretty good. Not terribly suitable for wanting to do the this particular more realistic mod, maybe, but they weren't terrible. Good maps. Some were a little large. There was a couple of 4Xs, which, yeah, I'm not going to do another 4X right away. But I mean, to the point where, like, one of them was actually, you know, when you loaded up this this window here, it just said paragraph 1 for description, paragraph 2 for description. The title that came up on the title page was test map or something else. Oh, I tell you, just no vehicles and no fields included, like that belong to you when you first start the map. So yeah, that made things just a little tricky, as you might imagine. Now, he's not going to haul that cedar. I should have just brought the case back. It's about twice the horsepower of this little puppy, but it should haul the water tank. So, So yeah, I thought we'd give this map a go. I hope you guys will all come along for the ride. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this driving the gear to the farm, but I wanted to show everybody which we're going to be dealing with. I am going to keep my eyes open. If I can find a mod, or if somebody can suggest a mod that will give me a front loader with a large enough bucket that filling trailers is not an all-day thing, I would honestly like to try the Belgique Profond map more than this one. So, let me know, guys. Otherwise, we will be seeing you next time right here in Spring Acres Farm. This has been Species 7. Take care of each other, and ciao for now.